Hello chums! Since we all love a list video, and we also love engine swaps, I decided to make yet another, featuring a few more underrated engine swaps that I think you should give a try. The reasons for featuring these particular engine swaps are subjective as well as objective, so one or two of them may not be the most powerful at a given performance point rating, but they may still drive very nicely. First up is the Pontiac Trans Am. I personally think it's quite easy to forget that Pontiac even exists in Gran Turismo 7, featuring only 3 cars, one of which is almost completely useless, and the other 2 are classic muscle cars, whose utility is already rather limited. However, this Trans Am has the option of the LS9 engine from the Corvette C6 ZR1. In fact, it is the only car in the game to get this engine, and that is significant because to me at least, the LS9 is the best Chevy V8 in the game. There's a very large gaggle of cars that get either the LT5 engine or the LS7 drift car engine, both of which are frankly compromised. Both of them are arguably too powerful for the cars they can be crammed into, and both of them are quite lacking in the sound department. The LS9 meanwhile can be upgraded to just under 1000 horsepower, which is more than enough, but not quite so excessive like the other 2 engines. More importantly though, listen to it. Next up is the Mitsubishi GTO with the Escudo engine. This is a combination that draws a great deal of criticism for its gargantuan levels of turbo lag, coupled with a distinct lack of gears. When the Demon engine was made available for the GTO last year, the Escudo swap was more or less confined to the back of the garage for most players, but I actually prefer it. Now, the Demon engine is almost certainly faster overall, thanks to a much more friendly spread of power, but the Escudo engine is utterly bonkers. The way the car accelerates when the turbo finally wakes up is hilarious, and the fact that it's a V6 fits in with the GTO being a V6 from factory. It's also lighter than the Demon engine or the standard engine, so the handling and braking are improved. Not to mention the Escudo engine has better fuel economy than the road car engines. If you can get the gear ratios set up right, this is one of the most rewarding cars to drive in the game, and better still, it feels like a nostalgic reference to Gran Turismo 1, where this car could be upgraded to over 900 horsepower. Next, we have a GAC engine, fitted to the 2006 Ford GT. Yes, I know the 2017 GT is better overall, I don't care. Among Gran Turismo's fan base, this engine is almost exclusively associated with the annoyingly fast Porsche Cayman. However, I like underdogs more. As completely stupid as it sounds, this supercar juggernaut is the underdog next to that overachieving little German sports car. While the Ford doesn't have the overpowered downforce levels of the Cayman, it still puts down 1400 horsepower, a great deal better than you might expect it to. More than anything else though, the reason I like this engine swap is simply the way the car gains speed. It's as if the car forgot wind resistance even exists. Even with full aero, this utter thrust bastard will sail past 300 miles an hour like it's on a Sunday drive. It genuinely feels as fast in a straight line as some of the Chiron swaps. Another underrated swap is the Lamborghini Countach with the Aventador engine. The old Countach has a reputation for being an ill-mannered pig of a car to drive. However, in Gran Turismo, with its smooth, wide-open tracks to drive on, it's as docile as a geriatric Staffordshire Bull Terrier. So much so that it can handle the Aventador engine's full 1000 horsepower potential without causing too many life-altering collisions. It is somewhat hobbled by a lack of downforce, meaning you have to brake for high-speed corners a lot more than most other cars at this level, and the performance point rating is fairly high for its comparative performance. However, something about the old Lambo's smoothness is more satisfying than most other cars in the game, and it certainly doesn't hurt that this is a V12 engine. My final pick for today is slightly left field, the Mustang Mach-1 with the Coyote swap. As classic American cars go, I'd argue that the Mach-1 is one of the most overlooked in the game. However, it's actually a bit of a hidden gem. Engine swap or not, it's very stable and planted for a classic American V8 without too much of the wayward insanity you get from rivals such as the Corvette C3, Plymouth Superbird, or the '69 Camaro. With this engine swap, it gains just over 100 horsepower and loses just over 50 kilograms to make for a decent improvement to the performance without becoming excessive, like the aforementioned Camaro with its engine swap. It sounds good, it makes sense thematically, and the car handles its increased power without the complete nonsense you'll get from an LT5 swapped Corvette C3. To make things even more appealing, this is one of the cheapest engine swaps in the game, at just over 100,000 credits. So, that was 5 more engine swaps that are worth trying. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope you found this video enjoyable or helpful. If so, please consider liking, subscribing, and touching my bell so that you get notified of my future uploads. Take care now, and ta-ra.